Hello friends, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am all about the beautiful, I gotta get the name right, Love for You bundle from the Stampin' Up! January to April mini catalog. Now, I just looked and I saw that I still have my Merry Christmas decor up. I should maybe take that down. Given that Valentine's Day is just around the corner. That's okay. It can stay up all year. It's always Christmas in my craft room, right? Right. Every time UPS comes, it's like Christmas. So as I was saying, I digress. I am easily distracted. I just saw those two up in the corner of my my screen here. We are all about the Love for You bundle, and it is one that, again, you look at it and you go, okay, it's kind of cute. Don't know if I need it. I could see some possibilities. There were a lot in this catalog that were kind of in that category for me. But of course I buy them anyway because, well, it's my job. And I need to play with them and show you how fabulous they are and figure that out for myself. And this is one that, as soon as I started playing with it, oh my goodness. The first couple projects I made, I wasn't super in love with. And then the ideas started flowing and oh my. Love it. So I'm going to share 3 projects with you today. The first one is a super simple one. It actually started out in my head as a 1 layer card, and then it kind of progressed a little bit more than 1 layer, but not a lot more. And then I've got a fun fold. Well, kind of 2 fun folds. The second one isn't really a fun fold, but kind of. You'll see what I mean. So we're going to play with these beautiful products and flowers and bright spring colors because, well, we're waiting on a big snowstorm here in southern Ontario. We're supposed to get hit tomorrow morning and get, well, 15 to 20 centimeters of snow, which is what? 6 to 8 inches, I guess, for my American friends. So it's going to be miserable tomorrow. So I am all about the spring flowers and just pretending that winter doesn't exist. I'm just going to hide, hopefully not have to go to work tomorrow. We'll see. And be able to just play with all my pretty flowery projects. So I'm going to stop talking because I seem to just be kind of on a roll today. And I'm going to flip my camera. I'm going to show you the bundle and then we're going to get to it. Okay. Oh, before I do, let me see who's joining me. I almost forgot. You guys are out there somewhere. I'm not just talking to myself. Who is here? All right. Hi, Deb. Hi, Jill. How are you? Oh, yeah. You got snow coming too? Yeah. It's going to get cold here next week. So big snow tomorrow. More snow Sunday. Yeah. It's actually winter. I was kind of hoping we'd get away with no colder than -1 and some clouds and maybe some rain and be done with it, but no such luck. Hi, Judy from Wawa. I bet you got lots of snow up there. I know my parents do up outside of Parry Sound. They're well snowed under. All right, let's stop talking weather and start talking cute projects, okay? I'm going to flip my camera and we're going to get to it. Oh, hi, Colleen from PEI. It's nice to see you. All right, let's flip away. Here we go. And we'll aim this down so you can see what I'm doing. I'm all bundled up today. It's rather cold in my studio, so I came down, I turned on the space heater, and I've got my cozy Stampin' Up! Wrap on. It's keeping me warm. All right. Hi, Cheryl. How are you? Looking forward to seeing you this week. Hopefully we don't get snowed out. I'm watching that. Okay, so here is the bundle. It's right near the front of the mini. It's just after the Country Floral Lane suite, which I featured last week. And I promise I'm not going to go in order through the catalog. I just happened to want to feature this because it's kind of Valentine-y. Not necessarily. In fact, I'm not actually doing Valentine's cards today. I'm kind of doing everything but it is a fantastic bundle. It's priced pretty economically at $64.75 here in Canada, and that will qualify you for a celebration item if you want to choose a freebie from your celebration brochure. Okay, so that is the bundle. Here it is in real life. So big, bold fonts that actually can be cut out with the dies. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of how different ways you can use the dies either on their own or with the stamp set, which is kind of cool. We have lots of different ways to vary the sentiment. So we've got thank you, Valentine's, anniversary, congrats, lots of possibilities. So again, not just a Valentine's set. And then some awesome, easy to layer 2-step flowers. So you're going to see those in action a lot today too. Okay. Now let's talk about the dies. So the dies have 3 different layers that you can create. So this is kind of your sort of backdrop or your shadow layer. No, it's more of a background layer. This is your shadow layer, okay? And then we have detailed fine words that you can die cut to layer on the shadows. Now, the cool thing is, though, that you can use just this with your detail layer, or you can use these dies to cut out your sentiments. Okay, and you're going to see that on one of the cards as well. So you can stamp your sentiment, you can die cut, you can use a combination. It's kind of, there's lots of different possibilities with this. Okay, then of course we have open dies that cut out the flowers and leaves and whatnot, and a cute little heart. So it's a great bundle. And again, you don't really get all of that from the layout in the catalog, so it was kind of fun to play with it and see what some of the possibilities are. So let's get to some stamping. Here we go. Hi, Linda from Hamilton. Hi, Kathy. Welcome. Glad you found me. Hi, Gail. Okay, so this is my card that I was working on. So those of you that were joining me for our Stamping Symphony Sunday Stamp and Share on Sunday, this is the card that I was working on. So it started out, I intended it to be a 1-layer card, and then I had to keep adding. So I'm going to show you what I did. It's really simple. Lots of stamping, but it's a great way to show you the awesome stamps in this set. So we're going to start with a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of basic white cardstock. And the first thing I'm going to do is some scoring. So I'm going to bring in my scoring blade. So for those of us that are newer to stamping, who probably don't have all the tools, all the things yet, using your trimmer, the scoring blade on your trimmer, is a great way to add subtle texture to your cards. I'm not sure how well that's going to show on the video, but there are 3 score lines here that just add this sort of subtle vertical element to my design. So to do that, all I'm going to do is put my cardstock into my trimmer horizontally. I'm going to put it in at 3/4 of an inch. I'm using my right hand ruler, okay? And I'm going to score, and I'm going to score well, okay? Now my score blade is not very deep on this trimmer, so I'm actually going to come in with my bone folder and just accentuate that score line because I want it to show up well on my card. Okay, so then I'm going to slide my cardstock over 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and I'm going to score again, first with my scoring blade, and then again I'm going to sort of emphasize that with my bone folder. Okay. Then I'm going to come back to 3/4, and I'm actually going to back it off again by 1/8 of an inch to, what is this, 5/8. And I'm going to score again, first with my scoring blade, and then again with my bone folder. Now, if your scoring blade scores nice and deep, you don't need to do the bone folder step. But you can see when I flip this over, I get these 3 raised embossed lines that just add a little bit of subtle texture to the front of my card. Okay, you could certainly add more lines if you wanted to. There are all kinds of, maybe I'll do a whole video on ways to add texture without using embossing folders. That would be a fun video. All right, so here we go. There is our background piece. Now we're going to start stamping. So we're going to start with our sentiment because we kind of need to know where our flowers will go, and our sentiment is kind of our focal point. So this is a big, bold sentiment stamp. I'm going to stamp it in basic gray. So make sure this is well inked. Now, because this is photopolymer, you need to have some kind of something behind your cardstock when you're stamping to allow for any unevenness in your work surface. So I've got my big pad of grid paper, which works just fine. You could use a catalog, you can use our Stampin' Pierce mat, whatever works for you. But you want to have something so that you make sure you get a really nice crisp amount. And I see I got some kind of goop on my L. That, see, I think, I don't know what that is. But you know what? I'm going to show you a fix. Here we go. I'm going to come in with my Smoky Slate blends, and we're going to see if we can blend that out. So I'm just going to come in and touch that up a little bit. There we go. Much less obvious. And now I have a little blob there from opening my blend. That's okay, we'll hide that with a flower. We're off to the races here today, you guys. Okay, moving on. There is my sentiments. Now we're going to stamp some flowers. So my color palette for this, I'll just quick show you the colors I'm using for my flowers and my leaves. I'm using Polished Pink, Fresh Freesia, Daffodil Delight, and Granny Apple Green. So we're going to do our polished pink flowers first. So I'm going to pull in my detailed flower first. So there are, with two-step stamping, there are usually two different stamps that create different layers that you're going to stamp one on top of the other. Okay. Now, in my experience, the easiest way to line up your images, well, first of all, the easiest way is to use your Stampin' Jig. But I am in a rush, so we're not going to do that. And I'm just going to do it freehand because I like it that way. So I'm going to start with my detailed image first. Okay. So I'm going to ink up my detailed image, and I'm going to stamp at full strength, just kind of right there. Okay. I'm going to add another one up in this corner. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my solid image. I'm going to stamp off once, and I'm going to line these up. Now, when you're lining these up, take your time and you focus on the center of the flower. Okay, and it's hard for me to do because I'm not looking straight down on it when I'm on camera, but we're going to hope and pray that this is about right. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, and we'll ink it up again. And we're going to stamp again up here. And again, I'm attempting to do this without looking straight down. So this is just a cross your fingers and hope. Oh, that was actually pretty good. Okay. All right. So that is our pink. Now we're going to work on our fresh Frisia. So once again, I'm going to start, there is a smaller flower image. So I'm going to start with the detailed one first. Okay. I'm going to add one here. I'm actually going to add one right here to hide that little sploochy, whatever that is. I don't know what it is. And we'll do one up here. Okay, again, I'm doing that full strength. Now I'm going to ink up my solid image, stamp off, and this time I'm going to stamp right over top, just like that. Okay, ink, stamp off, and there we go. That's pretty close. Ink, stamp off, and this is much easier to do when I can look straight down. There we go. Okay, easy peasy. If I can do it not looking straight down, you can do it. Okay. All right, next we're going to stamp the centers of our flowers. So I'm going to use Daffodil Delight. There's this little bitty stamp for the centers of your flowers. So I'm just doing those full strength, just stamping them in the middle of each flower. Just like that. So the cool thing about this two-step stamping is you don't have to have a whole bunch of different colors of ink, right? You can use the same shade of ink for both layers. You just stamp off on one and do the other full strength. Okay, so it's a great way to get more mileage from your ink pads. All right, so now our leaves, we're going to do the same thing. Again, we have sort of a detailed leaf and a solid leaf. So I'm going to start with my detailed one first. I'm using Granny Apple Green ink. And I'm going to stamp a few of these guys in and amongst my flowers here. Do that. I think that's good. All right, and we're going to stamp off with our solid one. My Granny Apple Green pad is getting a little on the dry side. It's due for a re-inking. And 2. And 3. Easy peasy. Okay, now we also have a single leaf, so we're going to add a few of those. And what I like about the single leaf is that I can kind of add it in and around the others to kind of get leaves exactly where I want them. Just that little pop of green wherever I might feel like I need it. So I'll maybe put one down here. And where else? We'll put one on this side of the flower. There we go. Just like that. And again, we're going to stamp off with our solid. So we go 1 and 2 and 3 and one more, just like that. Okay, see how quick and easy that was? So easy. Hi, Krista. Hope they had some good stuff at Costco. All right, now this is where I was going to stop with my design, and then of course, well, I couldn't do it. So I decided to add an extra little pop of flowers, just sort of at the overlapping my embossed lines there. So I stamped and die cut a couple more flowers. Let's get these out of the way. So we're going to just kind of layer two flowers together. So I'll just get a little bit of seal here. And we'll kind of add a little there. And we'll tuck a little there. And then we'll add a little more. And add a couple of those. And then maybe a single up here. Yep, that works for me. And then we're just going to pop that up. So it's going to be centered over our scored lines. And I know you probably can't see those score lines very well on camera, just because of the brightness of the lights. But you're going to have to take my word for it. They're there, and they just add a little something, something. A little bit of texture to our design. There we go. Can never have too many dimensionals. Did you know that about me? I think you probably did. All right, let's pop that one on there. Okay, and then we're going to layer this because, again, I really have a hard time doing one layer stamp. So we're going to add a little pop of Granny Apple Green with a bit of a matte behind our, but look at the difference that makes. Okay, so look, here it is, white on white. Here it is with a little pop of green. See the difference? It just makes the flowers pop that much more. All right, so let's take our liquid glue, add a little bit to the back of our stamped panel. We're gonna pop this on to our, I should mention, this is, the Granny Apple Green is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so it's just a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. But that, just that little hint of green makes all the difference. Our card base is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll fold in half along our score line. And then add a little bit more glue. And we'll pop this on. Just, ooh, this is not very straight. My card base is not folded straight. I didn't do a very good job of that. I should not talk and score at the same time, clearly. There we go. Let's see if we can fix that up. Okay, there we go. All right, now the last little touch, again, because I'm me, we're gonna add some of our fabulous adhesive back sequins from the mini. So I just have the small ones here. Oh no, I didn't. I did pull out the big ones. We'll add a big one too. So these, you get 2 sheets of these. They are my favorite embellishment from the mini. You get 150 large ones and 150 small ones, which is pretty darn awesome. All right, so there we go. Now, I'm not going to take the time to stamp the inside, but on the inside of my card, I went a little flower crazy too. Stamped some more, added a thanks for all you do, and there you go. Bob's your uncle. Done and done. Okay? All right, that one is donezo. Let's get this out of the way. I need to keep most of my stamps out because I'm going to use a bunch of them. All right, next one is this one. So I had to make a peek through card with the this outline. So let me just show you. I'm going to bring back the dies. So remember this piece, this background layer? So I cut a window to peek through so that my sentiment can peek through. So this opens like this and then like this. So this is a card in a card. Fun fold, okay? So I have a 10 fold card here, and then inside, this is actually a note card size that's inside. So I thought that was kind of cute, and yeah, I'll show you how I did it. Get this out of the way. Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna start with our card base and our DSP. So this is just a thick basic white card base, okay? 4 1/4 by 11. Scored in the middle at 5 1/2. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half. I'm going to be a little bit more careful folding this time to make sure my edges line up. Okay, now my DSP is cut to the size of my card front. Okay, it's also 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I've got some smudgy on there. Let's get rid of that. So when I ran this through my machine, I just tacked a little bit of seal to hold my DSP in place and ran them both through together. So that's how I got that perfect alignment. So we're going to go ahead and glue this onto our card front. This DSP is from the Country Gingham DSP pack, which I featured last week. It's one of my faves. It's great DSP, and it's got 8 sheets of each pattern, which is fantastic, especially for people like me who are doing classes. So the reason I'm using liquid glue is just to get this centered exactly so that my window lines up and my edges line up. There we go. Okay, so there is my card base. And then we're going to work on our sort of note card sized card to get our card within a card. So here, this is, what is it? 7.5 by 5, I think. Yeah. So 7.5 by 5, scored in the middle at 3 3/4. No, 3 3/4. Yes, 3 3/4. So we're going to fold this in half along our score line. Now I used regular basic white here. If I use thick basic white on the inside as well, this wouldn't lay very flat, like it wouldn't close, it'd be too heavy. Okay, so I use thick basic white on the outside, regular basic white on the inside. Okay, all right, next we are going to do a bit of layering. I've got a whole bunch of die cuts that I did ahead of time. So we're going to layer. This is another pattern of the Country Gingham DSP in Mint Macaron, and I have a piece of Petal Pink cardstock. So this one is cut to 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and then this is 3.5 by 4 3/4. Okay, so we're going to layer those. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm reaching for my liquid glue a lot today. My poor seal is feeling unloved. I will have to do something about that. There we go. Okay, so then that is going to get layered centered on my little inner card. Okay, so again, we'll add a bit of glue and center that. The reason I'm using my liquid glue here over my seal is because I have really narrow borders and I like to be able to adjust and get them perfectly centered. In case you're wondering, I haven't lost all control of my senses here. Okay, so then this is going to get glued inside our card, but first we're going to do some stamping on the inside of our inner card. Okay, so we're going to stamp these little guys. Now I do need to grab my shimmy so that I have clean stamps, because I use them with polished pink, and polished pink and petal pink are not a good combination when it comes to double stamping. So let's just clean those up, and we'll clean our leaves up. Anybody bothered by the fact I haven't put the lid on my glue? I was waiting for somebody to tell me to put the lid on my glue. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my Petal Pink ink, and we're going to stamp a few flowers just down in this bottom corner here. And I don't think I did any small ones. Oh, I did. Oh, well, we're just doing big because I didn't clean the small stamps. That's all right. Okay, so once again, I'm going to start with my detailed stamp or detailed flower image, and I'm going to stamp it full strength. Okay, and here's another ink pad that requires re-inking very soon. Okay, so there's 1 and 2, and I'm going to add one more little guy down here, not a full one. Okay, all right, now I'm going to bring in my solid stamp, and you know what, because this is so not very juicy, I'm actually going to stamp without stamping off, because this is pretty light to begin with, and I may not even be able to see to line this up. Let's see. There we go. Sorry guys, I have to pull this way down because I cannot see. So here I'm just doing tone on tone. I'm not actually stamping off on this one, mainly because my ink pad is super dry, and not like, look how pale that is. If I stamp that off, you wouldn't even see it. Now the tricky part is when you, there we go. Okay, there are my flowers. When you stamp a partial image, it's harder to line up. Okay, let's do our leaves. So my leaves this time I'm doing in Mint Macaron. So we'll grab our detailed leaf first, and this one will be juicy, I think, because I just re-inked it, I think, if I remember correctly. Yep, looks a whole lot better than it did earlier. And let's do another one up here, a little partial, and we'll maybe do a partial one down here. Okay, and then again, I'm going to come in with my solid. This time I am going to stamp off and stamp over top of my detailed one. There, and then there. Okay, feel like there needs to be something in there, so we're actually going to stamp off our single stamp really well and see if we can add a single leaf in here. Hopefully we don't get too much green apple green, because I did not clean these ones. Oh, that's good. Oh, did it in the wrong order. That's okay. It's going to be a dark leaf. There we go. All right, so that is the inside. Now to stamp my sentiment is actually from the Celebrate You stamp set. It says, welcome little one. So I wanted this to be a baby card. One of the teachers on our staff, his wife had a baby on the weekend, a baby girl, and her name is Eloise. Is that not the sweetest name for a little baby girl? So I thought, well, let's make her a card. So this is gonna go to sweet Eloise. So there we go. That is our inside. Okay, now this is going to get glued inside our larger card, centered. Okay, so for this I am going to use my seal because it is fairly hefty, so we want to make sure that it stays put. Okay, so we're going to center this. Now again, I do my upside down thing. I apologize if this drives anybody crazy. It's just the way that I do things. Okay, so there is our card base. I'm just not throwing my sentiments on the floor. There we go. All right, so now we are going to add our sentiments to the center, to the window. Okay, so I'm going to kind of just place these where they're going to go for now. Okay, so this goes on a bit of an angle like that. Love is going to go down here. And so it's going to go up here. So these were cut. Let me just bring this back again. So again, my window was cut using this big background one. And then the sentiments were stamped and die cut using this. The cool thing is you stamp it once, run it through once, and all 3 words cut out. Pretty sweet. Okay, so those are going to go like that. Now, we're going to add a few flowers sort of in behind our sentiment. Now, before we do that, I just noticed I didn't stamp the centers of any of these flowers, so we're going to do that right now. Bring back my little flower center. And our mint macaron. Hi, Margaret from North Carolina. Welcome. Hi, Martine. I'm glad you could join me today. All right, so we're just going to stamp our flower centers real quick. I'm just stamping them in the mint macaron. You certainly could bring in another color if you wanted to, but we'll stick with what we got. And now we're going to go ahead and arrange some flowers. So I'm going to take a small flower here. Okay, one's going to go up there. I'm going to put a large one kind of down here. Okay, I'm also going to close this. So before I glue all of these down, I'm actually going to just kind of think about where I'm going to put my flowers on the front. Okay, so there's going to be one here. There's going to be a large one up here and a small one down here. Okay, just to kind of think about, because I want to see some of those flowers on the inside peeking through the window. Okay, so that will work. Let's get those out of the way. And we're going to go ahead and do some gluing. So we're going to glue our flowers flat. So I'm going to use just the teeniest smidge of liquid glue. And you're going to see why in a minute. I'm just going to use just a little, if it wants to come out of the bottle, little smidge of glue here. Because I want to be able to tuck some leaves in afterwards. Okay. So we're just going to stick these down, then we're going to pop up our words, then we're going to add the leaves. There is a method to my madness. Okay, so there are my 2 flowers. Okay, now we're going to close this up. We're going to add some dimensionals to the back of our words. So I used full size and minis. So the full sizes will fit sort of on the main part of the word much, but then I'm going to add some minis in and around to make sure, let's put one right there too, to make sure it stays put. So we'll get rid of our backings. Okay, and then I'm going to close my card here and just make sure that I get this centered in my window. Okay, so next I'm going to do the word so. I'll just use a couple minis for this one. So we'll pop that guy up right about, down a bit, right about there. And then we're going to add love. And I apologize for the state of my hands. They are so flippin' dry right now. We are not allowed to use scented products at school. And my husband, bless his heart, bought me like half of Bath and Body Works at Christmas because he knows how dry my hands get handling paper all the time. And all the washing that I do at school to try and stay healthy. The problem is I can't use any of those lovely scented products that he bought me. So I have very dry hands. My knuckles are cracking. They're so dry right now. It is that time of year. Anybody else relate? Maybe it's just me. Maybe all of you have lovely, soft, supple hands in the winter. All right, so there are our words, okay? Now we're gonna go ahead and add our flowers on the front. So these are gonna get popped as well, and that's just so that they don't interfere with these popped, with the words that are popped, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm actually gonna add this flower kind of this way so that it doesn't cover up too much of my flower in behind. So I'm just using one dimensional, and we're gonna tuck one there. And then I'm gonna come in with a smaller flower. It's gonna kind of tuck in behind, but I'm gonna use liquid glue. Okay, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about leaves. We're gonna add them in a minute. I like to get all my flowers placed and then add my leaves after the fact, which is why I don't use a ton of glue to stick my flowers down, so that I can tuck my leaves in amongst them. Okay, so let's add one more dimensional to this large flower, and we'll kind of pop that one up there. Okay, now I have a whole bunch of leaves that we are going to sort of intersperse amongst our flowers here. So again, a little bit of glue. We'll tuck one in there. Just make sure that that's not hanging too far off my card, because I don't want it to interfere with the card fitting in the envelope. Love Bath and Body Works, very dry. Yes, I bet you get very dry hands with cleaning, Krista. Washing dishes is one of the things that destroys my hands. Oh, they're brutal. And I try not to do it very often. I use the dishwasher a lot, but you know, there are certain things you can't put in the dishwasher that have to get hand washed, and such is life. All right, so this one is gonna tuck in, you know what? I don't feel like I have enough room up there. So we're gonna tuck this one up here, I think. And we'll use a mini dimensional. I'm gonna pop this one up. Thank you, Martine. I love the colors too. Can you tell I need spring? Like now. So I'm going to open up my card, and again, we're going to tuck a few little leaves in and amongst our flowers on the inside as well. So when you're playing with these kinds of die sets, it's fun to just stamp and die cut a whole bunch of flowers and leaves, and then just play around with them. Play around with placement. Just do a little floral arranging. It's kind of fun. All right, but there we go. We're basically done. We just need to add a little bling. Oh, there's the rest of my leaves. I thought I had done more. Okay, we need to add a couple more leaves because it's looking a little sparse. We're going to add a single one on the front. So let's just floof up this arrangement a little. So we're going to tuck one here. And then I'm going to add a double on the inside. Right here. It's going to tuck in right there. There we go. So much better. All right. Gotta like my greenery. Okay. So now we're going to add a little bit of bling. So I have some iridescent pearls. I don't know why it is for me babies equal pearls. I don't know why. Babies shouldn't wear pearls. That's a choking hazard. But for some reason, I just really like using pearls on baby cards. So here we go. I am playing, do I have any more minis on there? No. I'm using the iridescent pearls, which are actually in the annual catalog. These are not from the mini, but they are so fun. The iridescence is fantastic on them, and it just adds that extra little pop of something. I'm gonna add one more down here. There we go. All right, so there we go. There's our finished card, ready to go to Miss Eloise. You like? Oh, thanks, Margaret. Okay, so that is, and look at second card, no ribbon, you guys. Like, seriously, you better call somebody, because I clearly have taken leave of my senses. All right, let's get rid of this and bring in number 3. Number 3 is my fave just because I am in love with this color palette. So in the mini, there is a new DSP pack called Fancy Flora. And it has all kinds of abstract, some of them are floral, some of them are just texture images on the DSP. And the one that jumped out to me is this one that has these sort of earthy tones. And I could not, as soon as I saw that, I thought that it would work really well with the images in the stamp set. And I was right. So here we go. This is what we're going to make. Look how pretty this is. Now, let's just take a moment and admire this gorgeous gold shimmer paper. Okay, this is the new fine shimmer paper. It's in the mini. You get two 12 by 12 sheets. It's gold, soft succulent, and fresh Frisia in the pack. And oh, it is so stunning and looks amazing embossed. This is actually the deboss side. I use the Pretty Flowers embossing folder, but I debossed it so the image is pressed in to the shimmer paper, and oh, so pretty. All right, so here we go. This one won't take long. It's really just assembly. So we're going to start with our card base. So this started out as a regular 5.5 by 8.5 card base, scored at 4 1/4, but then I cut an 1.5 inches, yes, 1.5 inches off of one side. Okay. And that's going to give me my fold that allows that DSP to show from the inside. So I'm going to fold my card base in half. Okay. And then we are going to kind of work on our inside first and then work on the front. So first of all, this is a strip of that beautiful DSP. It is cut to 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. We have a basic white panel that is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and glue the DSP right flush with that right edge of our white cardstock. So let's do that. Yeah, it is fantastic DSP, Elfie. It is, there are so many things you can do with it. And because it doesn't have a really distinctive pattern, it works with so many different stamp sets and suites in the catalog, both annual and mini. So there we go. Okay. On the inside of my card, I stamped congratulations. I thought this would make a beautiful congratulations card. It could be a wedding. It could be anniversary. It could be congratulations on making it to Friday. I don't know. That's what I need these days. Whew. They are long weeks right now because we are heavy into summatives, and I work in the resource room all afternoon, and I'm spending my afternoons doing math, which is not my thing. So yes, the days are very long. So yeah, you can make this card and send it to me to congratulate me for making it to Friday, okay? Okay. All right, so we're going to layer that inside panel on a piece of Evening Evergreen cardstock. It is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so that's going to get centered on there. Again, I am showing my Tombow lots of love today. I haven't forgotten. You guys must think I've I don't know, had an out-of-body experience or something, or been abducted by aliens, because no bows and no seal so far today. Are you shocked? Okay, so there we go. And then that is going to get layered inside our card. Okay, and when that closes, we're going to see that beautiful DSP peeking out. Okay, all right, I'm going to show my seal some love. There you go. Just to prove that it's still me and that, you know, someone else hasn't taken over my body. All right, here we go. So let's center this one on our card base. Okay. All right, so then we bring in this gorgeous shimmer paper. So this, we've had shimmer paper before, but it was a shimmer vellum. This is actual cardstock. So it's got a plain white backing. It's heavyweight like cardstock. And oh my goodness, it is so stunning. If there is only one specialty paper that you buy in the next 6 months, this needs to be it. It's just gorgeous. So I should mention, this is cut to 2.5 by 5 1/4. And then our Evening Evergreen mat is cut to 2 5/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and glue this on. Now, I'm going to put my seal right on my Evening Evergreen. Again, just because this is so deeply embossed, I don't want to risk separating the layers on my beautiful gold shimmer paper. So we're going to center this on here. Hopefully. There we go. Okay. And then that is going to get glued onto that front flap on our card. Okay. And I always do my back one first, so when I go to glue this on, I can make sure my top and bottom edges are lined up, because I'm uptight that way. I just like all my layers to line up. So we're going to close this up and just layer that like that. Okay. Isn't that pretty? It's pretty just like that. We don't need to do anything more. It's so beautiful. All right, so I have here a die cut. Oh, Sharon, I'm not retiring. I have 5 more semesters. So I have the rest of this year and then 2 more. So June of 2025 is circled in very bright red on my calendar. And I'm not wishing it away because that's when my son graduates as well. So we kind of both graduate from high school at the same time. So I'm not really in a hurry for him to go off to university and leave home. So I'm going to enjoy these last couple of years, as exhausting as they are. That's just, yeah. All right. So as I mentioned, this is soft succulent cardstock cut with the largest circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my Evening Evergreen ink, and I'm going to stamp a few leaves sort of in the top left and bottom right, just as a backdrop for my little floral arrangement that I'm going to do. Now I find when I'm stamping on colored cardstock that I kind of need to let my ink sit for a little longer, just to allow it to transfer to get a nice bold image. Okay, so I'm going to rotate this, and up here I'm just going to do 3 leaves. So I'm going to do 1 and then a single. And I'm not worrying about the detail on these leaves. I'm just doing the solid Evening Evergreen just kind of as a background. Okay, so that's going to go like that. We'll set that aside for a minute. I'm going to bring in my die cut words. So here, I'll bring in the dies for a sec so you can see which ones I used. So I'm using For You. So for the Evening Evergreen matte, I use this die. Again, 1 pass through the machine, cuts both. Okay. And then for my actual words, I use these 2 detailed words. Okay. Again, they're cut from the gold shimmer paper, and I have used adhesive sheets on the back because these are super fine die cuts and you would not want to be trying to put liquid glue on them. Trust me, it would be an exercise in frustration. So we're going to peel the backing off, and we're going to layer these on our mats. And I just love the look of the golds with the Evening Evergreen. Like, oh, how elegant is that? So pretty. All right, so let's get rid of our little negatives here. Should have poked these out ahead of time. There we go. And again, we'll peel off our backing. And layer. Gamma. Work with me, fingers. There we go. Press that into place. Okay. Now these are going to get popped up onto it's sort of in the center of our circle, and then we're going to add our flowers. So again, I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals. Yeah, I'm sure, Krista. I'm dreading saying goodbye, right? I don't know where he's going to end up. He's not sure yet what he wants to do. He has some idea. But you know, he's only 15. So he hasn't quite made up his mind, but I know when he does, it's going to require going somewhere to school. So yeah. So I'm going to enjoy these last couple of years. It's still crazy busy doing Stampin' Up and teaching full time, but you know what? Eventually I'll get to do Stampin' Up full time and not have to worry about having 2 jobs. All right, so let's just pop a couple of more minis onto our die cuts here. And we'll add this one on here, okay? And then we're gonna bring in our flowers. So I've already stamped these. Now I'm gonna explain what I did. So on the brown, which actually looked gold when they're against the gold shimmer paper, this is just soft suede ink. So I did full strength for the detail and stamped off for the solid. And then my smaller flowers are soft succulent, same thing, full strength for the detail, stamped off for the solid. And then my leaves are Evening Evergreen, okay, full strength and stamped off. So those are, actually, I think I might have used soft succulent for the solid on these, possibly. They're very similar, so it could be one or either. All right, so let's grab a little bit of seal here, and we're going to add some leaves. I got cat hair. Ugh. Phoebe was such a needy little kitty this weekend. It was really hard to get much done. She was all over me and all over my desk, so I have cat hair everywhere. All right, so there we go. These 2 are going to get popped right on the edge of our circle here. I'm going to have to trim off a couple of edge pieces from my minis. So we're just going to kind of go 1 there and 1 there. Oh, and it stuck to my finger. Look at that. So we're going to pop this one on here, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to add one more small flower. Which one will we do? We'll do this one. We'll tuck it in just under here. That's going to get glued flat. So I'm going to put just a little bit of seal on here. And we'll tuck that in just like that. Okay, and then we're going to add another set of leaves, just kind of peeking out down here. So I'm just going to use a glue dot actually to stick that one on. Oh, hi, Peggy. I'm glad you could join me. You're not a fan of green. Well, that's okay. We each have our color preferences. I love these shades of green. I'm going to be very sad when these in colors go away. Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen. I actually have a hard time making cards without these colors, I find, lately. I just find they work so well with so many other colors. All right, I'm going to add a couple more leaves here, and then we are good to go. Are you sick of watching me arrange flowers yet, you guys? I could do this all day, honestly. I love playing around with flowers. I have one extra, but I'm not sure. Sure, we'll add one over there. Why not? There we go. Okay, so this is going to get glued onto the front of my card, just like that. Oh, see, that's why I didn't have leaves there, because it makes it too wide and it doesn't fit on my card front. All right, so we're going to add some seal to sort of this half of our circle. And we're going to add a little bit on our flowers. We just want to make sure this stays well stuck, because the gold shimmer paper, you do need lots of sticky to stick stuff to it, okay, because it's non-porous, or mostly non-porous, and you just want to make sure you have good adhesion. Let's shove that over just a smidge. There we go. Burnish that well, and there we go. Done. Bob's your uncle. You like it? Okay, let me bring him back. Sorry, let me get my throw out of the way. It's getting warm in here. The space heater is doing its job. All right, so here are our 3 projects from today. So we had one fairly simple, just mostly stamping. Oh, look, where'd this one come from? I don't know. Extra flower. So mostly just stamping, fun folds, and then a wow with that gorgeous shimmer. Now I have to show you. Remember when I said I cut out the window here? I couldn't waste that. So I used this piece to layer just the die cut words on, and did a whole mess of stamping in a favorite color palette of mine and made this cute little card. So there you go. Waste not, want not, right? So another lovey-dovey one, and then here's one more idea with this one. So this one I used the Fabulous Frames, Fabulous Frames. It is. I did get the name right. That cuts the hearts, and then I cut another oval in the inside, and just added a whole bunch of punched hearts from the Country Bouquet punch. Okay. All right, girls. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I will put all the measurements up after I have dinner. My husband is picking it up as we speak. So after dinner, I will put all your measurements up, and you can stamp away to your heart's content. Okay, thanks for joining me today, girls. I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.